Oh, hey, hi, hello, welcome back to Downloadable Content. You've joined me in Hard Bullet, and don't worry, listen, there's going to be a ton of education this time. Seriously, we're going to learn a crazy concept, and that concept is going to be how to make money, and I'm going to teach you all this stuff while, well, playing Hard Bullet, so don't go anywhere because first and foremost, we're going to start with working at a job. Then we'll cover investing and stocks. Then up next will be savings and compound interest. And then finally, there'll be freelance work and miscellaneous activities. So without further ado, if you want some education, hit the subscribe button and let's get in. This is going to be a lot of education. So where should we begin our adventure? Should we go out on a patrol? Should we go into sandbox? We'll do a mixture of things, of course. And don't forget, Hard Bullet is well on its way to, releasing on Quest. I think they announced it for spring of 2025. This is heavy. So remember to wishlist the game. It's not sponsored. I'm just telling you, if you want this game, go wishlist it. But let's go to Deathbox. Now, of course, everybody wants to make money. Like, who wouldn't want to make money? And I think I'm the person to teach you how to make money. And now, listen. I'm not a professional. I mean, I'm a professional murderer, but I'm not a professional money person. But everything I'm going to tell you is from experience plus, okay? So let's keep that in mind. Now, the most accessible way to make money is to just go get a job, like any job, seriously. And there's so many jobs at this point. Like, don't think you're better than a job, unless that job is like, I can't think of a bad example, but you can always work in fast food. You can work at a car dealership, even as a non-salesperson. They have non-salesperson jobs at a car dealership. You can work in retail. A lot of people get their start in retail. I know a very special person that got their start in retail. But just so you know, when you actually do get one of those jobs, make sure they pay fairly. Like, don't get like a really stupid job with no benefits. That's the way of not making money. Like, you'll just get basically nothing. So for the most part, normal companies like I think like McDonald's, Walmart, Target, like the basic retailers, they all pay like, I don't know, sometimes $15+. Like, hey, do you know how much Walmart pays, dude? Can we look up how much Walmart pays while I do something with this guy's mouth? Okay, so it varies. It can be $15, $16, sometimes $20, depending on like what state you're in. By the way, we're doing this in the good old US of A. But let's say you've gotten a job. Like you went in there, you did the interview and they're like, good news, dude, you are hired here. You get to work here forever at this point, or so they hope. They want to keep you as a low-level grebo. But it's up to you now to obviously collect an hourly wage. And a lot of people are going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to work 20+ hours, going to start as part-time, work my way up to full-time. I'm going to do like one of these crazy-ass slow-motion jumps and shoot this guy in the forehead. And eventually I'm going to impress my manager enough, and then that manager is going to promote me, and then I will make $22 an hour instead of 20. Are you shooting this gun? Oh my God, there's a bullet hole in the gun. Anyway, what I'm saying is don't get suckered into like working crazy overtime, because that actually, it is, well, it's not the best to do. And here's why. Now, you'll work more hours and you'll see yourself get like time and a half, and you're like, wow, I just got time and a half. But actually what ends up happening is you get taxed like way more. Like, you'll be like, dude, didn't I work 60 hours this week? And you're like, I definitely worked 60 hours this week. Why don't I have the money to show for it? And that's because the tax man decided to be like, wow, you made more money? Oh God, please don't land in a juicer. No, we didn't. We're good. You made more money? Good. I want more of that money. So literally be careful of that. But what you do want to focus on is the benefits that your company has. Let's say, for lack of a better company, there's Walmart. Hiya! Walmart attack. Oh, it's not loaded. The Walmart attack. A lot of these companies will give you some basic benefits, and one of the main benefits we're going to talk about is a good old 401k, or also what I like to refer to as free money. So if you see can you stop screaming? We're talking about 401ks. You're very distracting. So if you see a company that offers matching, not just a 401k, matching 401k, well, you want to look into that one. So for example, let's just pretend Walmart matches 3% in your first year. Some companies are like, okay, we're going to give you a matching 401k up to 3% in your first year, and then after your first year, or sometimes up to 5 years, they'll match like sometimes up to 6%. It really just depends. Can we not turn this on? This is going to be horrifying. But let's say it's 3%. So this dude here is I don't know, your manager, and he's like, all right, here's your paycheck, dude. And you're like, oh man, thanks for the paycheck. But here's what a 401k does. It does a couple things. One, it's your personal like retirement, right? So there's Social Security, all that nonsense. But your 401k is not yours, but it's my retirement. So I don't want him to have any of that money. So your company, let's say Walmart, like we said, gives 3%. So here's what you need to do. You need to go to your HR, whomever's responsible for this stuff, and you tell them that you want to do 100% of 3%. Now, I know that sounds kind of confusing, but listen to me. So they take 3% of your paycheck. So let's say you made, we're going to keep it really easy. I'm horrendous at math. So let's say for some reason, some tragedy happened and you only made $100, but just pay attention. You made $100. So 3% of $100 is how much? Definitely not Hitler. Correct. It is $3. So that company takes $3 of your money. They take it right out of your paycheck. They take $3 and they're like, all right, $3, throw it in your 401k, which let's say we need something to represent 401k. Ah, perfect. A trash bin. So let's say this is your 401k, and we need 3 of something. Here, perfect, pencils. There you go. That is your $3, and you're like, okay, well, I mean that sucks, $3. But whoa. This is where free money comes involved. So now your company will match 100% of your contribution. So if their maximum is 3%. They'll match 100% of 3%. So that means let's get 3 more pencils. Now, Walmart sees that you put in $3 and they put in $3. So now that's $6. They put in $6 in total. So 3 from you, 3 from them into your 401k. Every single time you get a paycheck that happens. And most companies pay bi-week. Whoa. What the hell happened? What kind of maneuver was that, dude? Anyway, most companies pay what's known as bi-weekly, which sometimes sucks. You know, it means you have no money every other week, but every 2 weeks you'll get a paycheck. So let's just say that's the standard. So every 2 weeks, $6 is being put into your 401k, and that persists, which is crazy good, right? Now, let's extrapolate that. Let's use a real paycheck example. So let's say you made $1,500. And this is usually before tax, so keep that in mind. So you made, let's just say $1,500, no other tax. So, and let's say your company, worth their salt, matches 6%. So they match 100% of 6%. So you know what that means? You now put that in your 401k, and that's right. You just got $90. So half of 90 is what? Someone have 50, 60? No, 50 plus 50 is $100. 55. No, that's $45. Oh my God. So you put 45 of your dollars, and then your company also put in $45, and that's what got you to 90. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And let's go ahead and times that by 1 year. But keep in mind, 1 year, there's 52 weeks in a year, so you need to cut that in half. So half of that is 26 weeks. So now you take 26 and you times that by 90. I don't know the math. I'm not even going to pretend like I know the math. I'm just going to do this one. Hey, I'll just take out my phone and say, what is 26 times 90? And my phone tells me it's $2,340. So that means every single year, you and your company is taking $2,340 and putting it in your 401k. That's a lot of pencils. So I looked it up online, and the average someone works at a company is about 4.1 years. Now, let's say this pencil represents multiplication. So we're going to take this one, yeah, I know, and we're going to multiply it by 4.1. So after doing that quick math with definitely not my head, but my calculator, that comes to a little over $9,500 in less than 4 years. So in less than 4 years, you have put away $9,500 for your future self. And you're probably like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I need that money now. And don't worry, listen, you're learning. I appreciate the question, but you're learning. So you take that 401k, and that is persistent with you. Sometimes when you quit a company, you'll get a note that says, hey, dude, you quit. you quit. So here's your 401k. You need to roll it over into either another 401k with your new company or put it into an IRA. An IRA is like if you don't work for someone, like you work for yourself or someone that doesn't have, wow, did you say a throw? But someone that doesn't have a 401k, you would put it in an IRA. And we haven't even talked about taxes and whatnot, which let's take a quick moment to talk about that. So 401ks and IRAs, when you as a human being put them into itself, you take the money and put it into it, that's pre-tax. And what that means is the government, he can't take that. And it actually could theoretically lower your tax liability. So let's say you made $1,000 and you put in 6% of that one. It takes your 6% or whatever you're putting in. Actually, it will take your 3%, but let's just say 6%. It takes your 6% and reduces that. So now the government can't charge you tax on the $1,000 you made. You take 6% of 1,000, which is, how much is that again? So that's $60. You take $60 and you minus it from your 1,000. That's $940. So now the government can only tax you on $940. So you're taking your money and you're moving it. You're pushing Bikini Bottom somewhere else so they can't tax that. Okay, are you following me? I know that was a lot. So let's make sure you're following. Just look at this guy real quick. See, you're following. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Now back to what the 401k is, and moreover what it isn't. So yes, it is your future retirement, and a lot of people, boomers, will tell you don't touch your 401k because of reasons, and they are right. They're half right. You do incur taxes the moment you take it out, which can be counted as normal ordinary income, and you'll pay a penalty up to, I think, 25% or 15%. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 25% of that one. So be careful of that. But you can actually take a loan out of your 401k. Did you know that? So you're thinking like, I am never going to buy a house because I keep ordering Uber, which, I get it. I like food. I like ordering burritos from time to time. But remember, in 4 years, if you were doing 6% and you were at like Walmart and stuff, you just put away $9,500. So it's up to you. You could put more into your 401k if you want. There's a limit on your age, but you can actually take a loan out on your 401k for certain things, sometimes for a car, but more importantly, for a house. So let's quickly go over that. So you want to put a down payment on your house, and you're just like, I haven't saved that money. Don't worry, your 401k comes in as the hero. So you can actually, like I said, borrow against your 401k and give yourself a loan that you're paying the loan back to yourself. You are both the person that borrowed the money and the guy that owes the money to. You're the tenant and the landlord. So let's say somehow you've accumulated $30,000 in your 401k. Sometimes it's not enough to put a down payment on a house, but maybe you have other money, but let's pretend it is. So you take that $30,000 and you can clean yourself out. Sometimes you can take 50% of that. So it depends on who your 401k is with. But let's say you're able to take out $30,000. And they're like, okay, I want to do a 401k on this one. I want to borrow that money from myself, and it'll be paid back. You can set the time frame. You can be paid back in 10 years, paid back in 15 years, to yourself. By the way, you're not paying anyone else back, so don't get too crazy here. But they give you that money, you put it in your mortgage, and boom, you have somewhat of a down payment for your house. So let's say you're able to put down. I'm not going to get into house stuff right now. House stuff is very complicated. Maybe that'd be a different video. Let me know if you want to learn about how to buy a house. I will definitely teach you about having to do that one for sure. But now you've taken money out of your 401k, and now here's the cool part. Because you used it for like a capital contribution almost, which is a house, they don't hit you with a fee, and you do not pay taxes on that. Now, let me say that again. No fee, and you do not pay taxes on that money. All you need to make sure is that you stay employed at that same company you took when you borrowed the loan. Okay, so let's say you're like, I'm at a good company, I could see myself being here for 10 plus years. That's what you do, okay? Because the moment you quit, then they're like, okay, you quit. You don't have to pay the money back per se. Like remember, you're indebted to yourself. The money then turns into what's known as income for that year. So let's say you made $50,000, but you did a 401k loan for $15,000 and you've paid back, I don't know, $1,000, and you quit that job. That means that $14,000 will just turn into income for that year. So the government's like, oh, you paid taxes on $50,000? No, you made $75,000. So now you have to pay taxes on a total of $75,000, which You could do the math on that. But if you're staying at that company and you can see yourself feasibly being there for a decent amount of time, like I said, you can now borrow against yourself. So let's say within 5 years, or not 5 years, let's say within 10 or 15 years, depending on what you chose, you're paying it back through your paycheck. So they take the money out as a 401k payback rather than paying your normal 401k. So I know that sounds crazy, and I'm going to explain it again even simpler. So let's say if you were doing 6% in your 401k, you'll also have a 401k payback. But if you're smart, you could say, I'm just going to adjust my 401k that they're taking out to be pretty much the exact same amount, for the most part, of my 401k payback. So that way your paycheck doesn't change at all. You won't even actually notice that. Maybe you'll notice maybe a $20 change if you're lucky, but you're paying your loan back, which it's still going back in your 401k. You are giving yourself money back with interest. Like, how crazy is that? And that's how you get far. So that's if you just have a single job. Whoa, hey, whoa. They sent the government at me? They don't want you to these secrets. But that's if you just have a single job and a paycheck. Now, this is not obviously all-encompassing. I would tell you to do some research yourself. Don't just take a murderer's point of view from a YouTube video, but this is the basics to kind of wet your whistle. Now, we've talked about jobs, and it's time to talk about investing, and we're going to need to clear the field for this. Investing can get pretty complicated because I'm going to tell you the secret of investing. No one knows anything about investing, and I know that sounds crazy, but what I mean by that, if someone says, hey, I can guarantee you X, they're lying. That's just not how investing works, because there's always a level of you can't predict it, is what I'm saying. And here's what I mean. So this guy is like, today I'm definitely not going to get shot in the head. And you're like, oh no, he got shot. And that's how the stock market works. But I'm sure you're actually looking for a better explanation, and I am the guy. I will give it to you. Now, once again, I'm not a financial expert. I've dabbled with stocks in the past. I made a good amount of money with them, all right? So I'm just going to leave it at that one. But here is how a stock works. I'm also going to tie this back into your company, so bear with me. Let this current pencil represent $1,000. And let this guy represent the stocks you're looking to purchase, okay? Follow me so far? So I take my $1,000, and you're like, hey, man, you seem to be worth a lot. I would like to invest my stock in you. And you're like, how many shares are you worth? I have $1,000. I want to buy some shares. We're going to keep it simple. Let's say the shares are $1 a share. Okay, we're going to keep it very simple. So you take that and you're like, I will take your entire stock, invest. So you just bought, is he crying? He's okay. You now bought 1,000 shares. So those shares are invested. Well, I got to make sure I still invested. So their shares are now invested in that company. And that company is publicly traded on things like the Dow and the NASDAQ. It's publicly traded. There's also foreign ones, but don't think about that one right now. You'll blow your mind up thinking about it. This is also what I want you to say to yourself if you're investing. That $1,000 we just put into the stock market, don't say, hey, I put that aside and that's my money. No, don't think like that. You're thinking as I just took $1,000 and I destroyed it. Basically think this one. This is your $1,000 and this is you investing it. Okay? Gone. That's the mindset you need going into it. So that's first and foremost. You need to be willing to lose that money and be in a position that you can lose said money, okay? I don't want you to be like, well, I have $1,000 and Drifter said to do it, and then you lose everything and it's my fault. It's not my fault, okay? Don't be stupid. All right, so throughout the day, the stock market is open to trade Monday through Friday, and if you're super important, you can trade after hours on the weekends, but we're not super important. We will never be. That's for the lizard people to do. But the stock market opens, I believe, at, 9 a.m., and closes at 4:30 p.m. I know, short workday for them. So within that time, you can make trades. And if you don't have a certain type of trade account, you can only make like one trade a day, depending on what happens. So let's say you're like, oh, okay, that stock is worth $1 a share, and you see like it goes up to $2 a share, which is incredible. Okay, that is a 100% gain. That's never going to happen to you, so give up that dream. But let's say it goes from $1 a share to $1.10 a share. So that means every share you have, which is 1,000 shares, just increased by 10%. which is also phenomenal. That probably won't happen to you either, but we're going to keep it as even numbers. So now you're looking at it and you're like, whoa, that just went up. I'm going to sell it. You can do that. So you take your thing. Let this belt sander represent selling. So you take your shares and you go like, sell. Yeah. And it just multiplied for you. So now that means you just executed that sale and sold it. So you just profited $100. Now, technically, there's going to be some trading fees, so maybe you get 95 of those dollars, but push that knowledge to the side for now. You just made $100. So your $1,000 investment just turned into $1,100. Are you following me now? So now you actually have $1,100 to keep trading with. And now at this point, you probably think that you are untouchable. You're like, hell yeah, I'm untouchable. I'm going to go invest in pizza. And you do it. Even though your friends are like, don't do it. Don't invest in pizza. But you're like, no, invest in pizza. Dude, don't go anywhere. We're trying to invest in pizza, okay? Can you just go right here? As we see, you hear him screaming now. This is you investing in that pizza company that they told you not to invest in. You're like, did I make money? And you look down, and the stock market is red. And your stock is red. That means you're about to lose money. So hang on a second. You just put your now $1,100 into that pizza stock, and it went down 10%. So you only lose money when you execute the sale. So if you're looking at what's known as your portfolio, and you're like, oh my God, I just lost $120. You didn't lose it yet. That stock can still go back up, but it's up to you to mitigate risk. So if you have a bad feeling about a stock and you're like, dude, I'm not willing to lose my initial principal, you can sell and take that loss, and then you could use that as a capital expense, like a capital loss in your taxes. But you could be like, okay, I lost money. I'm going to sell that and get out of that stock. There's been many times that I've been involved in a stock and I saw it trending down. There's no worse feeling than be like, okay, I could lose $100 right now, or I can wait and the stock goes back up, and you wait 4 hours and now you're down $500. Okay. You don't want to be that guy in that position. If you have a bad feeling and you're good at like reading like stocks and everything, but you just have a bad feeling, it's best to lose a little bit of money than lose all of that money. Keep that in mind. But aside from that, let's say your trading is going very well. Look at all that trading going so well. That's a lot of trading. And let's say you've accumulated over $25,000 while trading, or you have that money from working. Let's say you took it out as a 401k. You could do that. But let's say you have your savings and you're like, you want to know what? I'm going to trade. I'm going to be not that guy. Don't get in there. You're going to trade. So if you have $25,000, you can open up what's known as a margin account. A margin account. There's a cash account, which is your normal stocks, which means you can make like one trade a day and wait for it to clear. Or you can open up a margin account, which is more complicated, but we're going to learn. So this margin account actually lets you trade with borrowed money plus your own money. And this is where you can get into kind of deep poo-poo because people are greedy and they're hoping you gamble. But if you're smart, you won't gamble. So let's just say we take some experience and you focus on the Apple stock, one of America's great top 500 stocks, okay? So you actually notice that every single day, Apple stock goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And you're like, you know what? I see the pattern. I'm autistic. So what you can do is you can take your $25,000 and let's say you're like, hey, I want to actually trade with $30,000. You now say, hey, here's $25,000 of my money, and you borrow $5,000 from your trading company. Let's say it's, I don't know, E-Trade. So now you're at $5,000 on margin, and they're hoping that you lose money. And here's why they hope that your trade goes bad. So let's say you are $30,000 with $5,000 of it being theirs, and you make a bad investment, and you end up losing money, and you sell the stock. You now have to pay them back the money. So let's say, hypothetically, the stock like super tanked and you were like asleep or something and you're on margin. You get what's known as margin call. They're like, dude, it's time to pay up. Remember that $5,000 we owed you? Well, you got to pay it back, dude. We want our money. Which can be very scary. Don't get yourself in that situation. So only trade with margin if you know what you're doing and you see some patterns and you can guarantee yourself to make said money. And also remember that the stock market closes at 4:30, so don't stay in the market if you're trading with margin, because that's literally just risking it all. That what you're saying is like, I'm confident that this stock is going to open up tomorrow and not lose money. And there's no way you can predict that. So don't be like this guy. Anyway, back to Apple. So let's say you notice that Apple every couple of moments goes up a fraction of a point and goes down a fraction of a point. You can make as many trades as you want. So you take your $30,000 and you say, give me $30,000 worth of stock, $25,000 being your money, $5,000 being the E-Trade's money, also known as the bank. So you're buying that on margin. And let's just say that's, I don't know how many shares it is, 300 shares. Let's just say it's 300 shares. And you're like, okay, I see it just went up a fraction of a point. And let's say that fraction of a point is $20. Like you just profited $20 if you sell. What you can do, because this is a margin account, you can sell that actually immediately, which is actually pretty cool. So you sell that immediately and you just profited $20,000. Now the $5,000, because you sold, immediately goes back to the bank. So you didn't waste any money. You just use some of their money to be like, dude, thanks for the money. And you give it right back to them. So they're like, damn, we didn't make any money off of this guy. That kind of sucks to be us. But for you, it doesn't suck to be you. So now you're at $20. You just made a profit of $20. You can do that as many times as you want as long as you have the money until the market closes that day. So if you're like, dude, this keeps going up, down, up, down, up, down, and you're not trading around lunchtime and you can kind of like do your due diligence there, then you can make a ton of money. So every time you can be like, okay, I want to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. You can keep doing that. You can keep trading like that. And what I would say is focus on small amounts of money. Give yourself a goal. So let's say today I want to make $50 additional by trading, or I want to make $25 additional. So the second you make $25 that day, I want you to stop trading and be like, dude, I made $25 today. Don't think about, oh, I could have made $10,000. Don't be stupid. Don't do stuff like that. You made your $20, you're out, and you're going to recalibrate the next day. So let's say you do that over the course of a couple months. You'll have good days, but you'll have bad days. I'm not saying every single day you'll make money, because there's days that you will take a bath. But after a few months of trading, let's say you've actually profited $10,000. So now you're at $35,000 in your account. You now have access to more margin. So hypothetically, as long as you can clear it, you can borrow up to $100,000. And this is where the bank or E-Trade or Robinhood, whoever it is, are really like, dude, I hope this guy fucks up. I hope this guy puts it all on GameStop again and goes south. That's what they want. They want you to take those horrendous risks. But if you know what you're doing, you're a savvy investor, and you're like, dude, I'm just going to stick with a safe company. If you're doing margin, stick with safe companies like Berkshire Hathaway and Apple. Sometimes they can lose it, but just keep a nice safe company that you know isn't going to do something drastic overnight. Like, you're not going to be like, Apple announces they're closing every single store, or Apple announces that they're buying Microsoft. Like, stuff like that's never going to, I don't want to say never, but extremely unlikely to happen, and that's why those are called safe stocks. Okay, let's stop that for a second. Let's take a quick break. I think this old iron on my hip would be a quick break. Here, can you open your mouth? I want to give you another tip. Just why aren't you opening your, why isn't, dude, open the mouth. Yeah, put the iron right between your teeth, and then here's a free stock tip. Invest in Apple in 1985. All right, good. That was a good stock tip. I'm pretty sure he won't regret that. What are you doing? Are you looking at stuff? You looking at my sword collection? Okay, let's take the kukri and kukri execution. Okay, that's good. Good. Now back to stock talk. So trading on margin, you have to be willing to make money as well as lose the same amount of money you've made in that day. But if you make good decisions, you can slowly but surely, almost, hear me out, guarantee that you're making yourself money. And that's how you trade with the stock market and trade on margin. That's what richer people than you and I are doing every day. They trade options, which we're not going to talk about, and stocks on margin, and they go with a very safe stocks. And here's what can happen. Eventually, you're at $35,000. $50,000, $100,000 in cash in your portfolio. And when you have $100,000 in cash, they let you trade with up to $1 million on margin, which can be some very scary trades. And you need to have balls of steel. See? Balls of steel to do that. But you can. I believe in you. That's how you make some crazy ass money with stocks. Okay? All right, that was a lot. I know. I can feel your brain being all zapped And trust me, I know. It's crazy, but this is the shit they don't teach you in school because they don't care about you. They want you to be like, congratulations, dude, here's your assault rifle. You're about to go die in the desert. So keep that in mind. I'm looking out for you. So now we're going to talk about things like compound interest and making miscellaneous funds. And I'm not talking about that type of miscellaneous funds. And to do that one, I say we just go ahead and go out for like a long, regular watch or something and just have some fun. Here we are in the basement, and we're going to learn about compound interest. This is a very easy one. Compound interest usually happens with things like banks, let's say your savings account, or mutual funds, whatever is going to give you a good return on investment. You might see it also referred to as APR. So we don't need to know what the term APR means. Just know that you'll get more money over time, or that they'll charge you money over time. But in this case, we're going to say that we're going to make money over time because we're cool like that. Oh my God, that almost went to his face. We're going to use this spade. So let's say you take $50, dude, give me your $50, and you put that into a savings account. Now, savings accounts have terrible returns on investments, but they have some basic ones, and that's what we're going to use to represent compound interest. So you put $50 in, and let's say you're not even going to get 1%. Let's say, actually, let's just say it's 1%. We're going to keep it nice and simple. So the bank gives you a 1% return on investment. Sometimes it's once a year, but let's say it's once a month. So every single month you are getting 50 cents because that's 1% of $50. But they take that, so it's now $50.50. So end of the month they give you another 1%. I don't know what the fractional one, but let's just say it's another 55 cents. Let's just say it's another 50 cents. So now you're up to $51 every month. But the more money that you put in there, the higher the return on investment is going to be. So this guy, went through all their heads. These guys here, compound interest. Compound interest. Anyone else? Are you going to stand up? You look like you're about to stand out here. Get some compound interest, dude. Oh shit, this is gonna be really good compound interest. So you invest, you not invest, you put your money in the bank. That's money in the bank. And now, compound interest. So let's say you kept putting money in, you put your savings and you let it compound every single month. Now let's say there's $1,000 in there. So $1,000 every single month, they're gonna give you 1%. Remember, it's a bank. They're not looking to lose a lot of money. So what's 1% of $1,000? Is that $10? I think that's $10. If I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But wrench in face. Let's say it's $10. So now every single month you're getting $10 free in there, and it just keeps compounding and compounding and compounding. So if you have money in there over time, it just keeps growing. So, dude, what are you doing? Jesus. So compound interest, sometimes it's hard to calculate because it's up to you how much money goes in there. But if you just put $1,000 in something and just let it ride for 5 years, then it can grow into something pretty special. But that's a very passive way of gaining additional income. Now that is called passive income, which there's many other options of getting passive income. But that's the easiest one right there. But passive income comes by giving you money when you are basically sleeping and doing nothing else. I'm gonna have to wrench this guy in the face if he comes a little closer. Wrench in the hand. Grab. Okay. Here, let's compound you in there. That's a lot of interest. Out of everything we're explaining in this video, compound interest is one of the most easiest ones to understand. Minus, I guess, the next part we'll talk about. But compound interest is basically, you take one thing, you put it in there every month. Someone else that isn't you is putting something in there for a smaller fractional version. And as you don't pay attention to it, eventually over the years, that can turn, like your $1,000 investment can turn into $40,000 or $50,000 like 20 years down the line. And you're like, wow, I'm glad I have that now and not earlier. But it's a very simple way. Almost everyone can do it. Just have a savings account, put some money in there, and just let it ride. Just let it do its thing. It's very simple. It'll do it for you. But now it's time for the part of the video that not everyone is equipped for, and that is doing things like freelancing work or being a contracted worker. And this one is not for the faint of heart. So this is where being self-employed kind of comes in, or being, let's say, a DoorDash driver or an Uber driver. A lot of people call these side hustles, not usually your main thing. But if you're in a very popular city, let's say New York or LA, you can be an Uber driver or an Uber Eats driver or a DoorDash driver and make like $60, $80, $100,000, depending if you're super crafty with it. It can be done, but not everyone, or even less than 1% of people, are going to be able to be successful there. You have to know that you spend money while working at Uber Eats and DoorDash through gas and other maintenance. So just keep that in mind. But because of that makes you self-employed. So as a self-employed person, you can deduct a lot of things, but that also means that you have to pay things like self-employment tax. Ooh! And what that is, self-employment tax, is normally the corporate tax that like a company like Walmart pays on your behalf, like Social Security and disability. Instead of that, you are paying for 100% of that, but at the end of the year, you get to deduct 50% of your self-employment tax. Ooh, big fucking deal. But from experience, I'm going to focus on things like YouTube, because YouTube makes me self-employed, and being self-employed means I've made my own money. No one else did it. I did a thing. I sold berries online, and now it's time for me to pay my taxes and all that fun stuff. But basically what I'm telling you, this route is you have to be someone that works hard. You're an independent person. You can keep to your own schedule, and you're not lazy. A lot of people are like, dude, I can do a YouTube thing. I can be DoorDash. I can all these things. I'm not lazy. And then when the time comes to be like, oh, dude, I need money. I got to go work, but I don't feel like driving right now because that show is on, or my friend's coming over, or this movie's coming out, or a new game's coming out. So I don't want to DoorDash right now, even though I can make the most amount of money. I don't want to make a YouTube video right now because I'm busy, or I'm too tired, I'm too fat, or whatever it's going to be. You'll make an excuse for it. Don't make an excuse for it if you're going to be someone that wants to be self-employed. You need to leave your excuses at the door, and your ego as well. But there is tons of money to be made when you are self-employed. Let's even consider something like YouTube. YouTube is Google, just so you know, in the alphabet company. But YouTube seems like it pays like dog shit, but like I said, with compound interest, it can actually pay pretty good over time. Like as long as you're consistent, getting views, and you're monetized. But let's say we're focusing on YouTube. Pick something that you know a decent amount about and have passion. As long as you have passion and you're doing the right things, like good thumbnails, good titles, good return on investment through SEO, the views will come. Like if you're passionate about something, the views will come in time, but always hone your craft. Like don't be like, well, I got 1,000 views in this video, I'm doing pretty good. You could always be doing better. There's something else that you need to learn. But let's say it's not YouTube. Let's say you want to sell things online. You want to go on Shark Tank. You probably won't make on Shark Tank, but you could invent something like a fire extinguisher that doesn't blow up in video games. And you sell that online, and everyone's like, dude, I need to buy that. And they buy that thing, and you're just like, hell yeah, I'm making money in my sleep. That is the goal. Basically, you put something out there, and then someone buys it. They're just like, okay, I'm going to buy that, and it just auto ship to them. Whatever it's going to be, you make money when you sleep, per se. So that's why I focus on YouTube, because I'm not a smart person. But YouTube, because people watch the videos one day or 1 month or 1 week, and they'll keep watching. You have thousands, 100,000, millions of people watching videos. They watch the ads, or they have YouTube Premium. YouTube is going to go ahead and pay that out. So I could do work one day that pays off tomorrow, next week, 3 weeks from now, a year, 10 years from now. That's what basically that is. It's generating passive income for you. So if you find a source and you're able to get a source to give you passive income, do it. Now, DoorDash and Uber and stuff, that's not passive income because you're actively doing something. Passive income means you could be doing something else while also generating money. Like you can go to work while you're also generating money in the background. So that's why stocks can technically be passive income. But if you have a good side hustle, like a small business, or you have skills, like you're on Fiverr, you're like, dude, I could make stuff for you. Some of that is a little bit of active income, but you know, it's always good to have some version of a side hustle, whatever that may be. Find it. If you have skills, never work for free, right? Unless you're smart. Like I said before, never say never, but never work for free unless the thing you're working for is going to advance you much further. So let's say, I don't know, pick someone. You're a guy and doing a thing. Okay, so let's say you make a banner for someone's YouTube and they're very prominent and they give you a shout out, say, listen, I'm not going to pay you money. First off, they're a piece of shit if they don't give you money. But let's say for some reason, they're like, dude, I'm going to tell everyone about you, and they have 1 million subscribers, and they have other content creators and our friends. They tell them about you, and it's like, dude, this guy hooked me up. He'll do it. And then you get all these emails and everything. You start to get connected. You charge them money. So sometimes you can do something for free-ish as long as you understand your return on investment. Okay, I think we're getting in the weeds here. We've explained a lot of things. If you guys want me to go over, I almost hit myself in the face with a stupid basketball. Other concepts, ask your questions down below. If you want to know more things that you want me to cover, I'll cover more things, but let's go ahead and return to the lobby. Well, my friends, we have reached the end of this actually educational video. I hope you learned something. If I got some things wrong, I apologize. I don't think I got anything wrong, but go ahead. It's the internet. Correct me. Leave it in the comment section down below. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Also, if you want to be more educationalized, tell me what you want me to cover next. I got some ideas rooting around in here that I need to get out, and this is the best way of doing it. Make it family friendly and educational. So if you like that stuff, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Literally free to do so. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment to let me know you were here. But other than that, I'm Drifter from Downloadable Content. You are like, I don't know, David or Sasha or something, and I'll see you next time.